Hey, it's Tansel. It's been a while since I made a video, so just had a coaching session, and one of the big takeaways that came out of it was my client was trying to memorize everything perfectly. Right now, you think, okay, memory training, coaching, want to be able to do everything perfectly, right? Get a perfect memory, remember everything. But here's the catch. You don't just remember everything perfectly. There's different stages to memory. You have to go through encoding. You have to go through connection. You have to go through memorization. You have to go through recall. There's various stages that happen throughout the whole thing. If you're trying to do all that at once, something's got to give, right? So for example, when you're trying to remember something, it's important to make sure that you have a good flow in your story that you're creating. So if I have the word, for example, let's say kangaroo and bread, instead of saying, well, the kangaroo ate the bread, very basic story, the kangaroo can jump on the bread, right? That makes it more memorable. But here's the catch. A lot of people try and go for that memorable story. You make it so that you're stressing your brain out. You're trying to add so much value into your storytelling, into your creation, right? Making that memorable, that it creates a little bit of stress. Yes, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But it's actually easier just to say the kangaroo ate the bread. That's it. You don't have to go all out because there's various stages. After the kangaroo eats bread, the story doesn't finish. You can keep going, right? That's the thing that I'm trying to explain, is that you don't have to create the best story for your memorization. Just create a story. That is good enough, right? Another example, let's say I've got a monitor there. So monitor and guitar, I've got one there on the wall, right? Monitor and guitar. I threw my monitor on the guitar, right? It's not a great visual. It's not a great story. Doesn't even make sense for me in my head. But I've gone through the motion of making that story, right? I could have easily said, I took the monitor, I put it underneath the guitar, and I lifted the guitar up and put it, on my couch or something like that. Again, that probably made a bit more sense to me when I made that story up. But the whole idea of training your memory is just going through the motion of storytelling first without any stress. So throwing my monitor onto the guitar. Yes, it didn't make much sense, but the more I do that, the better I get at creating a memorization motion. And that's what's important when you're memorizing, because what will happen, the more you train your memory, that motion will start to create a bit more impact. It'll start to get better and better and better. So your stories now, instead of not making much sense, it will be a lot better. It'll start to have or build into a bit more substance. It's not going to have substance all up at once. It may, but a lot of things in this world, when we're trying to remember, memorize, and learn, it's not just individual things. It's in large contexts of information. Like you're studying, you're not just going to study a word or two, right? You're going to study things in context, in paragraphs or pages, right? These little exercises help you to go through the motion and understand that instead of stressing out, just give yourself a break. Don't force memorization. Let it come to you, even if it doesn't make sense, because it's like, if you're driving somewhere, right? Let's say it takes you 30 minutes to drive somewhere, or you're being driven somewhere and it's the first time you've been driven there. It might feel like it's taken a while, right? Half an hour. It's not, short bit of time. It's not that long either, but it'll feel a bit long. But if you keep doing it over and over and over again, the brain gets used to it. So it builds up that pattern, builds up the habit in the brain, right? It's the same thing with the flow of memorization. Once you create a flow for the memorization, right, your brain will get used to it. So the takeaway from this video is when you're memorizing, just relax. Relax, let it come to you. Don't worry about mistakes. Let the mistakes happen, because the more you practice, the more you train, the better you will get. So there's my little takeaway from today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.